Hi, my name is Dr. Devon Geary. I work for the Institute for Common Power, and I'm here to give you the Institute's Daily Truth for May 12, 2025. In 1968, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the SCLC, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, launched the Poor People's Campaign. This campaign brought together people of all different backgrounds to fight against economic injustice and to fight for the human rights of poor and marginalized people in the United States. A key message of the campaign was that poverty is not the fault or a failing of an individual experiencing it. It is the moral and systemic failing of our society. So, folks in this campaign demanded from the federal government things like living wages, affordable housing, quality education for their kids, all things to narrow the vastly and growing economic inequity and the lack of access to resources and opportunities that marginalized people were experiencing. This coalition building, much like the pluralistic movements that we see today, was incredibly threatening for those with political and economic power. Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated in April of 1968, right before there was supposed to be a mass mobilization effort in Washington, D.C. for the campaign.
Dr. King's original plan involved occupation of the National Mall by the poor, making the realities of economic inequality visible to the nation's leaders. On May 12th, the first group, named the Freedom Train, arrived on Mother's Day. That day, Coretta Scott King and Ethel Kennedy led a march through poor neighborhoods of Washington. The next day, protesters began moving into the 16-acre encampment the Reverend Abernathy called Resurrection City, USA. 8-foot by 20-foot plywood dwellings were built. Eventually, 30,000 were constructed in the shadow of the Lincoln Memorial. The protesters stayed for over a month. The residents of the city regularly left the encampment to meet with government agencies around Washington, D.C., demonstrating and lobbying for policy changes to address the needs of the poor.
In June of 1968, 50,000 people came together in Washington, D.C. for Solidarity Day. In 2018, the Poor People's Campaign was relaunched by Reverend Dr. William J. Barber II, founder of the organization Repairers of the Breach, and Reverend Dr. Liz Theo Harris, executive director of the Kairos Center. They are continuing Dr. King's vision of an intersectional and inclusive campaign with a clear message that poverty and lack of upward mobility are not individual personal failings. They are failings, moral failings of an unjust, inequitable, and exploitative society.